Want to make your immersive films sound as good as they look? In this masterclass, Kimchi and I are going to show you how to create true 3D Ambisonic Spatial audio inside DaVinci Resolve Fairlight, arguably the most powerful tool for immersive sound design. But here's where it gets wild. With AI, you don't have to manually track every audio movement. We will use IntelliTrack to auto-follow your sound source in 3D space, giving your audience realistic depth and movement with just a few clicks. Plus, I will show you AI-powered tools to clean, enhance, and sweeten your on-location audio like a pro. This is an in-depth tutorial designed to level up your immersive filmmaking, so stick around because by the end of this tutorial, you will know exactly how to make your spatial audio just as cinematic as your visual. Let's dive in.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's your dog, Kimchi!
Hey, get out here, Kimchi. That's my spot. Alright. So how do you actually capture spatial audio? The best way? An Ambisonic mic. We have got some options here. The Zoom A3VR, Sennheiser MBO, or the Rode Soundfield, all great for recording full 360 sound. But if you're on a budget, the Coolcam 3 Ultra actually record first order Ambisonic audio straight out of the camera. So no excuse, you can still get started today. Now here's the real challenge. Sound design for immersive 180 or 360 filmmaking is notoriously difficult. If you follow my old tutorial using Reaper or Premiere, you know the struggle. But that's exactly why we are here, because this masterclass changed everything. With DaVinci Resolve Fairlight, you got a powerful, streamlined workflow built for spatial audio. And even if you know nothing about sound design, you will be able to follow along and create pro-level immersive audio for Masterclass, Apple Vision Pro, and the upcoming Google Samsung XR headset. This is how you can take your immersive film to the next level. So let's break it all down. Step 1. Set up your spatial audio mix in DaVinci Resolve. Alright, let's fire up DaVinci Resolve and make sure you are on the latest version. 3D spatial audio mixing and AI-powered IntelliTrack are brand new feature starting from Resolve 19 and above. So if you are not updated yet, now is the time. Now let's bring in our assets. We have got a 4-channel Ambisonic track recorded with the Zoom A3VR, a mono audio source from the Rode Wireless Pro in a 32-bit flow, and of course, Kimchi's iconic bark, because no spatial mix is complete without some immersive dog action. And here is the best part. All these assets are free to download. Kimchi was kind enough to provide all of them. So check the description, grab the files, and follow along. Even if you are using the free version of DaVinci Resolve, you can still apply everything we have covered here today. And hey, if you are new here and want to turn immersive sound design into a career, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, because every time you do, Kimchi gets a treat, and trust me, he is highly motivated for more immersive filmmaking content. Before we start dropping things in, let's tweak some setting. Go to Preferences, head to Video and Audio I/O, and make sure Enable Ambisonic Audio is checked. Hit Save. Now let's set up the timeline. If you are working with 8K 260 video, set the resolution to 760/80 by 3840. If you open the free version of Resolve, set it to 4K instead. If it still works just with a lower resolution. Now drag in your 260 video so we can start syncing it with the spatial audio. Right click in the timeline, select Add Track, choose Ambisonic, and pick Ambisonic First Order. Ambisonic First Order has 4 channels and is the most common format for immersive production. But sometimes you will also get Third Order Ambisonic, which have 16 channels. So you always confirm with your on-set sound engineer before setting things up. For the best practice, rename your track so you don't get lost later. Now let's drop in the Ambisonic track you just downloaded. Wait, what? It is creating extra tracks. Did Kimchi just mess with us?
No, you dumbass! You need to set clip attribute first!
Oh right, Never piss off the sound guy, or in our case, the sound dog, before troubleshooting. Most of the time, your audio files will come in as multiple mono channel, also known as A-format, from production. It's our job as a sound engineer to convert them before we start mixing. Right-click the multiple channel spatial audio track, go to clip attributes, and in the drop-down, select Ambisonic first order. Now, Resolve will group all those mono tracks into a proper Ambisonic track. You can delete the extra unused mono track now, hit OK, and finally, drag it onto your 108 track. Now, let's bring in the loud mic track as well. Select everything, right-click, choose Auto Align Clips, then Waveform, Automatic, and hit Sync. This locks your spatial audio to your footage so everything plays back in a perfect sync. Now, here's a critical step. Perfectly syncing your audio and video. Most Ambisonic microphones don't have time code, which means waveform auto-sync won't always be 100% accurate. And if your audio is even slightly off, you will get phasing issue or weird echo artifacts, which, trust me, will destroy your immersive mix. And thankfully, Resolve Fairlight has subframe syncing, so let's use it. Jump over to Fairlight page, grab your Ambisonic track, and nudge it manually until it perfectly in sync with the loud mic audio track. Don't just trust the auto sync. Double check it in Resolve, Premiere, or whatever DAW you're using. As you can see, the Ambisonic track is a couple of subframe off. My best advice, always double check your sync, because even professional editors get this wrong, and don't assume your editor will do it for you. Most of the time, they won't. Once your Ambisonic audio is logged in, trim in any extra unnecessary frame and jump back in the edit page. Now we are finally ready to start spatialize the mix. Let's make this sound incredible. Step 2. Adding buzzes. Before we even start mixing, let's set ourselves up for success by configuring our audio routing using buzzes, one of the most powerful yet totally underrated feature in Fairlight. Head over to Fairlight, go to Buzz Format, and let's organize everything properly. The first buzz is our standard stereo mix, so we name the buzz first to stereo mix for stereo delivery. Now we need a second buzz for Ambisonic. Add a new buzz, name it Ambisonic, and set it to Ambisonic third order, which gives us 16 channel, perfect for Masterclass TV delivery. If you're aiming for the new Google, Samsung open source immersive audio format, Eclipse Audio, you will need even higher order probably. Eclipse is Google and Samsung's answer to Apple and Dolby Atmos immersive format, and it can handle up to 28 tracks with very good height information. And if that's your target, you can expand your Ambisonic bus to accommodate it right here. But we are not diving in too deep into deliver format today because this just announced in the CES 2025. If you want a deep dive to follow up, just drop comment to Kimchi and we will break it down for you in another tutorial. Now, let's add a third bus called Headlock. This is important for music, narration, and anything should not pan with your head movement. It stays locked in place, meaning it doesn't move when you turn your head inside Apple Vision Pro, Meta Quest, or Samsung XR headset. And this is best practice because if your dialogue or music is floating all over the place, you will disorient your audience, and yes, bad audio can make people sick in VR, not just bad visual. And a lot of creators don't realize that. Finally, let's add Buzz 4 for YouTube VR delivery. YouTube only accepts 4-channel first order Ambisonic, or as influencers like to call it, AD audio nonsense. But let's be real, that's just first order Ambisonic, and this is how you actually create it. And yeah, if you do this right, you can go viral with immersive audio as well. Hit OK, and now let's also add sound effect track and music track. Sound effects should always be mono and music should always be stereo. Now jump over to Fairlight, expand the track mixer section, and assign each track to the correct buzzes. The camera audio is just a reference track, so we don't really need it, just mute it. The Ambisonic mic should go to both the Ambisonic track and the YouTube VR bus, but not the Headlock bus. Same thing for the loud mic and the sound effects. Music, on the other hand, should go to the Headlock bus, since we don't want it to move around in space like AD audio. Now, let me quickly jump ahead and show you why this bus routing is so powerful when it's time for delivery. Head over to Deliver page, pick Wave File and go to the Audio Deliver tab, hit the plus icon right here and add 4 output tracks. The first one is your normal stereo mix. The second one is your Ambisonic 16-channel mix for Masterclass TV. The third is your YouTube VR 4-channel first order Ambisonic mix. And the last one is your Headlock audio track. Now, you render just once and boom, you got all 4 versions ready to back to your video editors for mixing and final delivery. How cool is that? Kimchi literally just saved you time and money with these organization techniques. Please use this workflow in your next immersive project, and when you see how much smoother your post-production, drop a thank you comment down below to Kimchi. Step 3. Spatial audio monitoring. Now let's talk about monitoring spatial audio, because let's be honest, most of you don't have a $1 million Dolby Atmos mixing stage at home, and you are probably not working out of Warner Brother. That's okay, because we are going to learn how to mix spatial audio using just your headphone, which, by the way, is exactly how most people will experience in Masterclass, Apple Vision Pro, or YouTube VR anyway. Head over to the Fairlight page. Right now, by default, we are monitoring the stereo mix bus, but since we are working in spatial audio, we need to change that. Instead of monitoring the stereo bus, switch over to Ambisonic bus and route it to binaural decoding. If you are lucky enough to have a 7.1 or surround sound system at home, go ahead and select that instead. At this point, you should hear the audio playing back, but it doesn't sound spatial at all yet. That's because we haven't actually done any spatialization just yet. That's exactly what we are going to do next though. So let's start placing sound inside a 3D space. Step 4. Free spatial audio decoding and panning. Now that we have set up monitoring, we need an audio plugin to properly decode spatial audio and pan our sound correctly inside a 3D space. Luckily, there is a great free solution, dearVR AMBI MICRO from dearVR and Sennheiser. It was originally designed for the Sennheiser Ambio spatial mic, which, by the way, is a fantastic mic and the one we use in our narrative VR film Vanilla Lily on Apple Vision Pro. But the good news is, this plugin actually works with any spatial mic, including the Zoom H3 VR. So go ahead and download and install it. Once it's installed, jump into Preferences, go to Audio Plugin, enable it, and then restart DaVinci Resolve. Now, head back into Fairlight, open the Effect panel, and search for AMBI, and you should see dearVR AMBI MICRO pop up. Drag it onto the Ambisonic track. Here's a critical tip. We want to add this effect at the clip level, not the track level, and here's why. On an immersive film set, your sound guy might place the mic anywhere, somewhere out of the frame, sometimes misalignment with the camera. And that is a big deal because all immersive camera has internal fans, even the Canon R5C or the new Blackmagic Ursa Cine Immersive. A good spatial mic will pick up that fan noise as well if it's too close. So most of the time, the mic is placed off axis, which means we need to correct it in orientation manually. And that's why applying the decoder per clip, not per track level. Now, before we start panning, let's quickly talk about mic format. The input format here is A format. While the Zoom A3 VR can capture B format Ambisonic directly, I always recommend recording in A format because the built-in conversion inside the mic isn't as good as what you can do in post with better software algorithm. Set the output to B format, choose your mic position, mic is upright, but set it according to what your sound guy told you. Now, in the viewer window, turn on 360 viewer mapping, also enable the Ambisonic meter and select power map. You should now see a heat map overlay on your 360 video in the viewer. This is super helpful because it visually shows you where the audio is located in full 360 space. Now, slow the Ambisonic track and play the video. Watch the heat map move. You will see exactly where the sounds are positioned in the scene. Now, all you need to do is to pan Ambisonic track until the heat map align with the visual in 360. This also works for VR180, and I will show you how to do it later in this video. Now, if dearVR AMBI MICRO doesn't work for you, some PC setup might have like competitive issue, there's another free option. You can use Blue Ribbon Sound O3A Core and their decoder and rotation plugins to pan your spatial mic. The version of the file you download from me is actually already converted to B-format Ambisonic first order. So if you're using O3A, just load the O3A rotation plugin and rotate the sound sphere the same way as you just learned. That's it. Your spatial mix is now mapped properly inside the 3D space. Now let's take it one step further and start placing and automating sound source dynamically in immersive environments. Now let's talk about spatializing mono tracks, because let's be real, Ambisonic mic alone aren't always accurate enough. In most production scenarios, you will want to capture a spot audio source like dialogue from your talent using a lav mic, and then in post track and animate that sound source onto the talent's movement for crystal clear dialogue. For this, I'm using the Rode Wireless Pro, which gives me 32-bit flow audio, super useful when working in immersive format. And because we are spatializing the audio inside DaVinci Resolve, we can actually clean up the dialogue using AI before we start position it in 3D space. Go ahead and turn on Dialogue Leveler. Under Optimization, select Moderate Level, since, let's be honest, I have a pretty anime style voice, because, well, I'm Asian.
NANI?
Now check Reduce Loud Dialogue, Leave Soft Dialogue, and Background Noise Reduction. If you are working in a really noisy environment and you need to extract only the voice without spatializing background noise, you can also enable Voice Isolation AI. This will completely separate the voice from any unwanted sound. This is one of the reasons Fairlight is the best Ambisonic post-production tool. You won't find Dialogue Leveler, AI Voice Isolator, or this spatial audio feature inside other doors like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro 11. These are all the new features in Resolve 19. So if you are missing them, update your version now. In this case, since you are in a quiet environment and the Rode Wireless Pro already has a very good isolation, we don't really need voice isolation AI. Just Dialogue Leveler should be more than enough. Actually, let's bring down the output gain too, because let's face it, I'm pretty loud. Always keep your dialogue under -6 dB to maintain a clear mix. Now, let's move on to spatializing the track, manual tracking the audio in 3D space. Go down to the pan section right here, double click inside and turn on spherical and 3D. If you are wearing a headphone right now, you should already hear the sounds moving around your head.
Our Ambisonic audio test. Right here, I have a lavalier mic on me, on Kimchi, and then in front of us, caption is a Coolcam 3 Ultra, also capture Ambisonic audio. In front of us is a Zoom A3 VR, also capture Ambisonic audio,
which is pretty cool. But what I prefer to do is directly track the audio inside the immersive video. Now, we can do this manually or use AI. And let's be honest, AI is 1,000 times faster. But first, let me show you how to track it manually. If you're following along, close this window right now and move it to your second screen. Select the track and turn on Show Tracker Controls. You will see a control point appear on your screen right here. If you move it,
lavalier mic on me, on Kimchi, and then in front of us, caption is a Coolcam 3 Ultra, also capture Ambisonic audio.
You can actually hear the lav mic is moving in 3D space, syncing perfectly with the video. Amazing. Now we will use automation to manually track the audio. First, arm your azimuth and elevation so we can start recording movement. Expand your track a bit, turn on pan, azimuth, so you can actually see what is happening. And then arm the track by clicking the record automation button right here. Move your playhead back to 0, position the first keyframe on me, and now hit spacebar and play the video. As I move in the video, drag the track point along with me in real time to follow my movement.
Okay, recording, everything recording. My test, 1, 2, 3. Okay, right now I'm in front of the Coolcam 8K Ultra and Ambisonic mic right here. If you see it right here, we actually have it facing that direction, so it's actually off axis. it's not aligned with the visual. It's literally 90-degree offset. I'm going to do an audio test right now. So I'm going to walk around the microphone. Walk around, walk around, walk around. Keep talking, mic check.
Once you stop playback, you will see that all the automation is recorded. Play it back, and now you will hear the audio is perfectly tracking my position.
Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Okay, recording, everything recording.
That is exactly how professional spatial audio should sound like. It locked to the visual, syncing perfectly with the immersive video and creating a true sense of presence like no other. We always say audio is 50% of the storytelling, but in immersive media, I argue it's even more than that. No matter how 16K your visual are, if the audio isn't immersive, it completely breaks the illusion for the viewer. Mastering these skills is essential if you want your audience to actually feel like they are inside the experience. But let's be honest, if you are doing this manually, it's pretty tedious. The good news is AI can automate this entire process. Let's move on to IntelliTrack and see how we can use AI drive spatial audio tracking to do this instantly. Step number 6, using AI for spatialization. Now let's take spatialization to the next level by using AI to track and position our audio automatically. Select the section where Kimchi, our superstar, appear on screen, set an in and out point. IntelliTrack need this to define the range for tracking. Now select the lav mic track, make sure asthma and elevation are armed, and turn on auto. Next, activate the tracker on my face and hit the track button right here. Now, let's Resolve AI to do its thing. With the 19.1.3 update, the AI tracking speed is significantly improved, so this should only take a second. When it's done, listen back and watch the heat map.
Today we are doing our Ambisonic audio test. Okay. Today we are doing our Ambisonic audio test.
And wow, the AI is magical. It even tracked my footstep perfectly. Automatically adjust the position to my dialogue to match my movement. Now, while AI is fast and impressive, it's not perfect. And that's why I like to combine both the manual tracking and AI approach to fine-tune the stabilization. For example, right here, when I turn around and my face moves off screen, the tracker lost me, and that is expected. Right now, Resource AI can't continue tracking if the feature leaves the frame, but I have heard from the grapevine that they are working on improving this. So AI tracking will eventually be able to acquire movement when the subject comes back on the screen. Whenever that feature becomes available, I will let you know on my Instagram, so make sure you follow. For now, when AI fails, we just manually track that section the same way you just learned. Blend the AI track movement with manual keyframing, and now we have a perfect natural spatial audio mix. Now let's move on to sound effects. Drop in Kimchi's barking sound effects, and let's position it inside the 3D space. Double-click the pan section right here, enable 3D and spherical mode, and pan the sound roughly in the space. Now move this window to your second screen or minimize it, and pinpoint the exact location where Kimchi is in the frame, like this. Hit play. And now the barking sound actually feels like it is coming from Kimchi behind you. That is true immersive sound design. Now let's drop in the music track, but we are not going to spatialize it. Instead, bring the music level down and apply a basic EQ. Cut out some of the frequency between 1000 and 2000 Hz frequencies, so my voice will cut through the mix better. This is just general audio mixing strategies, but if you're interested in learning more about professional film audio mixing, drop a comment down below and I will make a tutorial on that as well. And now, we are ready for the final export. Step 7. Final export for Masterclass TV and YouTube VR. Now, for the final step, exporting your spatial audio mix. Jump over to the deliver page. I personally like to render video and audio separately for delivery. If you are sound engineering, you only need to focus on audio. So let's start there. Pick Wait as the format. If you are delivering for YouTube VR, you only need to send your video editor Bus 4, which is YouTube VR first order Ambisonic mix. By the way, the old YouTube VR 6-channel Ambisonic format no longer work, so don't use it. We are also expecting Google and Samsung Eclipse Audio's format or Eclipse audio format to be implemented on YouTube VR soon. So I will make a follow-up tutorial on that once it is available. I will also be covering Apple Vision Pro Dolby Atmos workflow in another tutorial, since that process is a bit more complicated. But for now, let's focus on MetaQuest delivery. For MetaQuest TV, your first output should be Ambisonic Bus, which contains the 16-channel mix. Go ahead and render the first. Once that's done, come back and render the Headlock audio stereo mix, which contains music and voiceover track. Obviously, before exporting, make sure your mix is solid, but detailed mixing techniques is out of the scope of this tutorial. Oh well, don't forget to also render the video file as well. Back to custom export, you can either uncheck the audio track or include the stereo mix master. This part is up to you. FB360 will strip your stereo mix away, but it's good to have a version with stereo audio if you plan to release it on platform that only supports stereo, like Pico by ByteDance TikTok VR. For video setting, go to Video, pick MP4, select H.265, and for encoder, choose NVIDIA. And here is a hidden tips that no one will tell you. If you want the absolute best HEVC encoding quality, do not use a Mac. Go find a PC with NVIDIA graphic cards because HEVC encoding on PC is significantly better than on Mac. For resolution, keep your timeline at 8K, set it to constant bitrate, restrict it to 80,000 kilobits. This is the best setting for MetaQuest TV. Just for sizing and debayer to the highest quality, then hit render. Final encoding with Facebook FB360 encoder. Now, open up the Facebook FB360 encoder. If you need a download link or an installation guide, check out the link down below. Once inside FB360 encoder, pick Facebook 360 as your format. For the 16-channel Ambisonic audio, select the Ambisonic track we just rendered. For the Headlock audio, select the Headlock stereo track we just rendered. Select the video file here and then hit render. And that's it. Now you have the final video file optimized for MetaQuest TV with the absolute best image and spatial audio quality. Time to upload, publish, and blow people's mind with your professional grade spatial audio film. Immersive 180 Spatial Audio. So far, we have only seen how to spatialize audio for 360 video. But what about VR180 or Immersive 180? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Essentially, 3D 180 video only has 180 degrees of visual content, but the sound sphere should still be full 360 degrees. Just because your eye cannot see behind you doesn't mean your ear cannot hear behind you and what's happened out there. That's why for Immersive 180 video, you follow the exact same sound design approach as 360 and create a full 360-degree sound sphere. Now, let's learn how to view VR180 properly inside DaVinci Resolve so we can AI track and place our audio sound source correctly in the 180-degree space. Dragging the Canon EOS VR video. If you don't have one, download a sample from my Patreon. For this demo, I'm using an epic fight scene from our latest film, Vanilla Lily, Brushstroke of Time, now available on MetaQuest TV, YouTube VR, and Apple Vision Pro. Since VR180 needs to be positioned in the center of 360-degree sphere, we need to adjust the timeline. So all the sound design will work for both 360 and 180 playback. To do this, go to color page. Since we need to adjust this entire thing in a timeline level, not just a single clip, switch to timeline level adjustment. Now add a node in the timeline and click into transform controls right here. Select node side, so this node will store all the sizing information but can be toggled on and off. Now pan the video by half the resolution of your timeline resolution. It will place the 180 video exactly in the center of the 360 sphere. You can turn on this node while designing spatial audio so you can properly track and position sound, but for final render, simply just turn the node off and your VR180 video will be exported correctly. And that's it. Now you have a properly positioned VR180 video inside a 360-degree sound sphere sound environment. Do your sound design as usual, and when it's time to export, just disable that timeline node and you are good to go. We cover a lot in this in-depth spatial audio masterclass. I know many of you have been waiting for this tutorial for almost a year, and I finally got it done. As you can see, Kimchi put in a lot of love into making this masterclass completely free, and that's because audio is too important in immersive filmmaking to be hidden behind a paywall. If you skip this step, you only hurting your own audience because bad audio kills immersion faster than bad visual. So don't get lazy, get good at sound design. Your audience will love you for it. For some very strange reason, almost every sound design tutorial online is sponsored by some paid sound library telling you to buy some more stuff. This tutorial, not sponsored by Artlist, Epidemic Sound, Soundstripe, or some BS sound library, is 100% sponsored by Kimchi, my Shiba Inu with love. You don't need to pay for an expensive sound library to get good at sound. Just go outside, capture the real world spatial audio using one of those actual microphones. If you appreciate what we have done for the immersive filmmaking community, consider supporting us on Patreon. And while you're at it, download one of our immersive film and watch it on your favorite HMD. You will learn way more by experiencing a spatial film than by watching any tutorial. And if you want more deep dive content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. And I hope to see you there. Ciao!